Go.
Okay, so I just oh wait, actually no, I should introduce myself. So hi, my name is Gibby, I'm a senior here, and I study graphic design through Miss Kim. I don't know how many people here have taken the digital media course, but yeah. Basically, I'm going to be talking a lot about CalArts in this portfolio because I'm going to CalArts, but I'll talk about the other schools if you guys are interested. Just quickly, raise of hands, how many people here are juniors? Okay, sophomores? Okay, no freshmen, right? Are freshmen here? No?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You're okay. You guys are starting early. Holy shit. Holy sugar, honey. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I don't remember what the second slide. So these are the schools that I can discuss because personally, I've gone to a few of them. So if you guys have any questions, feel free. And at any point during the presentation, if you guys have a question, feel free, raise your hand. I don't bite. So yeah. So this is a quick table of contents. I want to stress that portfolio is very important in your work, but it also getting into a school has a lot to do with extracurriculars, your initiative, working for programs and nonprofits and stuff like that. I have a lot of experience because I was a finalist in the Posse program, which is yay. Which is basically a leadership program where they talk about the importance of being a leader in your community. So I've talked personally to administration and the application people. So I'll be talking about that too, just because I think it's very important. But also portfolio. And yeah. So a little about me. I'm Polish and non-binary, and I love plants. And that's a photo of me in California. And also I draw a lot of inspiration from video games and cartoons and stuff like that, which you'll probably see in my work, but I don't know, yeah. And also I really wanted to talk about portfolio requirements. The reason I asked oh, who's a junior here is because I want to talk about the portfolio requirements. Usually you need 15 to 20 pieces, 3 pieces of observation, which freaking sucks. But you need at least 3, and in SP1 you have observation pieces already. So make sure that you take photos of them so that when you're applying you already have a photo and you don't even have to stress about observation. And most portfolios are 15 to 20 pieces, but in CalArts it's minimum 20 pieces, and you have to have more than that. And that I think that also has to do with is anyone here interested in CalArts animation? Yeah, so for your portfolio, you're required to do 15 pieces of observation, which is horrifying. And most of them are also bodies and stuff like that. Yeah, but and it's important to have different strategies that you address in your portfolio. I like to talk a lot about how I have diversity in my portfolio because I know a lot of different programs, so yeah, but there's you could do a lot of diversity. You could specialize in a certain style of art and stuff like that. So yeah, yay. So this is my actual portfolio, but I also want to make sure you guys know that this is my CalArts portfolio. So it has more than 20 pieces, and if I were to do it for my portfolio varied per school. So for example, Pratt, SVA, I only submitted 20 of my best pieces out of all of the ones that I'm going to talk about today. And yeah. So I'm not really going to be reading through anything. I'll just talk about Miss Park actually helped me with the order of your portfolio, because the order of which your art goes in is very, very important. And there's people in this school that talk about the order. So it's not, I don't know, it's not stressful because everyone here is here to help you. But basically the structure that I worked in is strongest at the beginning, strong ending, strong middle, and then there's just like pieces in between, is kind of how my portfolio works. But I started off with me, just kind of like as an introduction. And the structure that you use, I just kind of want to talk about structure too. Make sure that you're taking down the dimensions of your piece, the program or like type of art that you're doing, and then you're always gonna have like a bio, right? So here I experimented with just the color pink in my piece. Yeah, oh wait, actually, let me quickly do like, since I take Miss Kim, we have a lot of access to like Adobe Photoshop and like Illustrator and stuff like that, so that's how I usually do my graphic design, is through Adobe products, and it's free, so it's fun. So this was just like an edit. This was me experimenting with portrait, like colors and stuff like that. And then this one is a two-person experimentation with like halftones and color variety. And you could probably see like Steven Universe trying sort of thing. Like I love Steven Universe and like Adventure Time and stuff like that. So yeah. Here's an illustration piece that I did at the beginning of this year, which I honestly think really sucks right now. But yeah, I don't know, what am I supposed to say about it? Like, ta-da, it's like this thing.
Yeah, you can talk about your pieces, but you can talk, you know, more about the application process, like using slide room, any tips that you would have in terms of looking at your 4 years of LaGuardia, your experience here,
okay.
and turning it into
like a
college
portfolio.
piece. Yeah.
Okay.
You can talk about recommendation letter. You can talk about any of those things. Scholarships.
Yeah, I'm gonna
right?
talk about that.
And then save some time for Q&A.
Okay.
That question.
So like, yeah, a lot of the scholarship and like extracurricular stuff I'm gonna talk about at the end. So yeah, I'm just gonna go, I guess, quickly through my portfolio unless anyone has like any questions. But yeah, a lot of the work that's in this portfolio was done in school or in a week because I didn't know that there was a submission deadline until like the week of. So I finished a lot of my portfolio in like 7 days time. So that's why a bunch of this is rushed. But I also am part of the poster class in this school, which is led by Miss Kim. It's like 10 people total. So she makes us do like posters for the class. And this is something that I did last year, which I don't love, but it like shows I like doing two-tone color palette sort of thing. So I experiment a lot with two tones and I love blue. So yeah. And yeah. Oh, and I think this is my proudest thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're my senior art show posters that I did this year, and these are just kind of the ones that I submitted, which aren't the final versions. They're kind of just like drafts because they weren't fully finished when I had it at the time. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'll talk about this more later, but I think a lot of my acceptances had to do with the fact that I was in the poster class, because it's basically an internship where you're talking to the assistant principal and you're like communicating with all your peers and you're communicating with your teacher. So it's like a guided professional internship sort of thing. And I don't know, it taught me a lot. So yay, yeah. This is a video that I couldn't insert, but let's see if I have it maybe. Yeah. So this was done in Adobe After Effects. I don't love it because it was at the beginning of the year and it was very rushed. But my goal with this piece was to make sure that like the administration people knew that I knew how to use like After Effects, Illustrator, Photoshop, like Clip Studio Paint. Like I had a wide variety of programs to my disposal. Yeah, and this is like a photo edit that I kind of did. It was just like a mixed media sort of thing that I did in Clip Studio Paint. And like I just thought it looked cool, and then I kind of made a message behind it later. That's what you'll like find that you do in your portfolio, which is a terrible, terrible advice. But like, just like it's important to find meaning behind your piece and not just be like, I just thought this looked amazing and cool and awesome. And yeah. I forgot which one this is. This is another video. I was initially supposed to do an animation portfolio, but then I hated animation, so I went into, I don't think I have this one, sadly. But so I have a few animation pieces in here, but I don't have it, I'm sorry. This is not Adobe Photoshop, this was Clip Studio Paint. It was a rendering of like a situation, like you want to kind of make 3D dimensionality in your piece and it like make a story behind it, even if you don't really think that there is a story behind it. Just like make sure that the administration people know that like you're thinking about like a more in-depth sort of like, I don't know, like there's story behind it. It's not just I drew a girl because she looks cool, or I did this thing because it looks cool. It's like I would, like a way I would explain this is like I used like oil pastels and texture in order to create like more dimensionality and like be original with my piece. And like I used halftones to experiment with my style and not just be like, I used halftones because they look cool. Yeah. This is another one that I don't know if I have because the videos just are not working. I don't know. I'm sorry guys. I think the videos were like the coolest part, but whatever. This is something that I made in SP1 in 2019, and I included it in my portfolio because I didn't have any observational pieces. So that just like shows the importance, just document your work, make sure you have it. This is a photo that I took freshman year. I didn't even like find another photo, I just like had this photo and I just kind of used it and I kind of like edited it so that it like had more contrast, even though it wasn't very contrasty. And yeah, also there's no rules that say that you can't use filters and stuff, so like utilize that as much as possible. Like make it vibrant, make it look pretty. This is photography that I did because like photography is kind of important. Yeah, and then like description again, like I talk about like how like, you know, like elements of art, like movement and like reflection and contrast and color. Yeah. This is another SP1 piece that I did from observation because I had no observational pieces. So yeah. This is a watercolor piece that I did, and I tried to make it meaningful by making barcodes and stuff like that. But actually, no, there is like meaning. It's not even like this, but like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Another tip that I have is like to talk about a movement that's going on right now. They like to see that you're involved in like maybe like a culture, maybe like just some like I guess movement.
Social critique.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so there's that. I also do a lot of branding design, so I did a branding manual for my mom's logo. And yeah, I don't know. I worked a lot with Miss Kim on this. And this one, they also, oh man, do I have, no. Oh wait, yes I do, okay. So like, they also love mock-ups. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Oh my god. Sorry, I didn't know there, actually, okay, just ignore, oh wait, no, I can turn it off. They like mock-ups. They like to see that you have like a vision and you're willing to like have examples of that vision. You know what I mean? Like they just want to see that you're like thinking real life thing. It's a terrible way to put it, but like they just want to see that you're willing to put your work into the real world and not just like designing it for funsies. And I also designed a website, but it doesn't really show too much. It just shows like the basics. Yeah, this is a sketchbook piece. I would say that I don't love putting sketchbook pieces when like I'm limited to 20 pieces or like 15 to 20 pieces, just because it feels kind of cheap, but that doesn't have to do with like everyone. Like I'm sure like some people's sketchbooks look really, really pretty, it's just I needed more pieces, and so I put in a quick sketchbook piece. It also showed like, sometimes like it's good to also like say like, hey, I did this in 10 to 20 minutes, just so it shows that like, I mean, you're quick to have ideas and things like that. Yeah, I also talk a lot about like how, oh, is that it?
No, sorry.
Okay, sorry, sorry. Okay, so I talk a lot about like the sort of like aura a piece is supposed to have, like it's supposed to be calming. Another one that I have is supposed to be more like energy based and stuff like that. So just make sure that your theme is consistent with like what you want to portray. This one is another thing that I don't have. It's a little tiny GIF animation that I have. No. And then this is another, I don't think you can really see it. Oh shoot. But it's like a very long design manual. Let me talk a little bit more about this one. So basically an important part of your portfolio is talking about your design process and how you process a project. So like here, like I talk about, oh, like I made a mood board before can I touch now? I made a mood board before I continued on with my project because I wanted my client's visual to like match my own. And then you make a prototype so that your client knows that like these are the options that you have. And then like color palette, recolor, like mock-ups, again, like for graphic design, I think that's important. I don't know about every single portfolio, but yeah. And that's it. I don't know, I think these are very simple, but like they address the bigger thing, I guess is the best way to put it. And I was also part of this student-led organization called CVSO, which was a like, you know, like they organize projects and stuff like that. And so I designed their Instagram, what are these called? Their Instagram posts. And sadly I don't have an example, but there would be like more information, and it also like showed that, hey, like I'm active in my community, I love the planet, like stuff like that. And yeah, I just want to talk about extracurriculars really quick, just because I think they're very, very important. So yeah, I talked about this earlier, but there's something called a posse program, and you apply for it junior year, I don't know who here is juniors, but you apply for it junior year in June. So that's next month, okay? And the process happens from June to December. And I think all of you guys should apply to it because it basically gives you free money to have a full ride into the school that you want. I think currently they only do CalArts, but there's a lot of different schools that don't really have anything to do with art that they do full rides for. So like Posse is amazing. And sadly I didn't win. I still got a full ride, but I didn't win and I didn't get their program, but since I was a finalist, they gave me a lot of connections to like the administration and the people who work there, like work at CalArts. So it allowed me to like, you know, like talk to people and ask them what they like need in a student, and it just like makes you more distinguished as a person. And I also entered a lot of competitions, like and exhibits and stuff like that. There's a program called Art Connection and like Gen YZ exhibition, stuff like that. You basically submit your art for free and you get like a $100 Blick card. You get like free money just for submitting your art, and it's totally free. So yeah, and then you get to put that on your little resume, and yeah.
And I'm gonna post this video that I'm recording this, we'll post it and share it, so you guys can review it at any time, okay?
Okay. So, sorry, that was this, but these are the clubs that I did. I like made sure that I was, you know, active in the club, so I was like vice president, like a board member, or like something. Like you don't have to like create a club, but like it's good to like be active in a club for a couple of years. I'm gonna leave this guy. Poster class, I already kind of talked about this, but like to reiterate, it's free. You can join it senior or junior year, and you get to make professional posters for the school. So you're giving back to the school, shows that you're like involved in the school. Also, you're talking to like assistant principal, and Miss O'Connell like wrote a recommendation letter for me. So like it's impressive to be like, oh yeah, the assistant principal wrote me a recommendation letter. Like it's more like, you know, it's just kind of like a good thing to add on. And oh yeah, I was gonna ask, do you guys want me to like show you my resume maybe? Would that be helpful? Okay, let's see if I have that. Okay, so I kind of did this for my job, but then it ended up being for my school. So this is just a very, very basic standard sort of thing. Like you talk about your experience, like sometimes like having experience in your school portfolio is like cool to add. Like here I added poster design. So again, you could add poster design to like your list of experience for jobs and for schools. But I also like did babysit, so weird. I did babysitting, I did like filing stuff, like that doesn't really matter. But also like the nonprofit, you could also include in like your experience. Software skills. Schools, you should add your courses that you're taking onto your thing. And also when you're applying with Common App, they ask you, hey, like what courses did you take? Did you take advanced courses? Did you take like, you know, just like basic courses? So like, I mean, my rule of thumb is to make sure you take at least one AP class to show that you're like trying to be a little bit more advanced. But I took 5 and I hated all of them. So yeah. What else? Yeah, and then I added my extracurriculars, and I have like 10. I think the maximum you're allowed to add is 10 onto the Common App. But like, yeah, some of these like, okay, actually never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, just make sure you're active in like the community and stuff like that. And I think that's it. So, yay!
Alright, I want to see some time because I know you guys have some questions. Anybody have any questions that they want? Please.
I like portfolio and everything, but I was wondering, for like specifically the resume, what do you like write like next to your like extracurriculars? Like, are you just like saying like what you did? Or,
Oh yeah, let me actually, if you want, I can just go into depth about that. So basically, like I just put it in like a certain format. I was just like, hey, like this is what I did. This is my role in what I did. This is how long I had this role and was active in it. Like they're always gonna ask you like, how long have you been in the club or like etc. And then like a brief explanation, but usually you don't have to add the brief explanation because it's kind of like a given. But yeah.
okay.
Anybody else? Kyle.
But for some of your digital pieces, like the size was in inches and the other ones were pixels.
Oh, that's. Oh well. Okay, I did that because I was lazy and I didn't want to transfer the pixels into inches. I mean, I would say that it's good to keep one like unit measure throughout all of them, but if you're in a rush, it doesn't like change anything. Yeah.
Okay, you said to like imbue meaning into your artwork, but like, how important is that really? Like, because you're faking it too much.
Well, I don't think, well, okay, how do I answer this question? I mean, I think it's very important that you communicate that there's a meaning behind every single one of your artworks. Maybe like my pieces, like where I was just like, hey, like this is just like a pink monochrome, like piece, like even though like there's no like deep meaning, like she's depressed and like this is her being happy, like there's no like deep meaning like that, but like there's like a meaning like, hey, like I was experimenting with style and I had like a goal behind my piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that you necessarily have to make up meaning. You could just be like, hey, this is my goal behind. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be, just to add on to that, could be really quickly, like it could be a piece about process and material. And
Yeah.
that's fine, because you're an artist. Someone else?
For the portfolio submission itself, did you like have to put it in like a Google Slides or did you have like a specific?
Okay, so are you here for CalArts or for like, just do you mean like every school?
Just like in general.
Okay, so depends on the school actually. So there's CalArts and there's SBA, which are really funky with their like submission progress or process. They like you to submit on their own website, and the website submission is a lot easier than I would say like the slide room submission. So when you're going on, I wish I could show you this, but I can't. But when you're submitting your artwork, what it'll be is, it's like physical submission, the title of your submission, what you use in order to create the piece, the dimensions, and then usually like a short artist statement. So if you're on the website, and even if you are on the slide, like on slide room is what you're gonna be using. Like, it's always gonna be like the same format sort of thing, but
You
yeah.
upload the images onto there and then you put in like the description.
Yeah.
Whether it's slide room or it's one individual pieces. Like please make sure that your photographs are not HEIC or high efficiency, because then you have to photograph everything again.
Yep.
And if you want me to afterwards show you how to transfer, change it, let me know, because if not, and then you lose your piece, that image is like a tiny piece that you can't really use to submit.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, like there's a certain file type that you have to like insert it as. So it's either PNG, JPEG, MP4, MOV, like it's not all of them, it's like usually like a specific type.
Just really like the poster class, cause I put as one of my like options for an elective this year was like the communication design.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. How do you like get into the, or like apply for it?
I mean, I won't lie, like Miss Kim just she made the class like midway through October. And she kind of just like came up to me and was like, you're joining this class, you don't get an option. So I think you just apply to it as you would any elective, but yeah.
Okay.
Do you have like digital experience beforehand, or?
Not as much as I would like to, but
I don't think you have to have experience, but it is good that you know the program Adobe Illustrator, because all your work is gonna be in Adobe Illustrator.
Adobe for students is free right now, so you can like just make an account over the summer, download it, and you know, you have YouTube where there's a lot of amazing tutorials. You guys can just get the head start.
You applied for the new school, right?
Yeah.
They let you write artist statements under it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can we see your the Parsons challenge?
Oh, that's a great question. Holy crap.
So some colleges are gonna ask you not only for your portfolio, but for a home test. They give you assignments and you have to do them in like a month. Not every art school, but a lot of art, like Rizzi's gonna ask you for one, Parsons is gonna ask you for one, Cooper's gonna ask you for one, and then they say, you have 1 month, here are the prompts, we want to see what you do. with
It's
it."
not like, sometimes it's not even a month, it's like 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
It's crazy, but I don't have it, but if you send me a message on Instagram, I can send the photo to you.
Oh, can you like make it bigger? I can't see anything.
Yeah. Ta-da!
And then Gibby, there's one more question behind you.
Yeah.
So about like the whole Adobe thing being free, I tried making an account and downloading it, but it didn't really work, and it kept saying I had to pay. So
Okay, so were you using your LaGuardia email? You're supposed to use your NYC school email.
okay.
NYC students, okay?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, Sean?
If your portfolio is like mostly just of one subject matter, how do you recommend like diversifying it?
What do you mean one subject matter?
Because most of my things just end up being like just paintings of people or places.
I think that's completely fine. I mean, it doesn't like, I would say like use different types of media, like oil pastels,
Yeah,
like watercolor. That's-
diversification of media. But
Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think like even having like a theme for your art, like some of my friends did that where they like had like one subject matter and they just like made different renderings of it, like, you know, like I think that's fine. As long as you're showing that you have like, you know, like a wide variety of skills to your disposal. Yeah.
Can I also add to it, if you're using like photo references from the internet or whatever it is, make sure that you really change it a lot, just the photo reference, because at some point you're skirting the line between plagiarism and taking somebody else's idea and composition. So change it a lot.
Adding on to the diversifying your portfolio, as Gibby said, having like an overarching theme can help unify it. Because if, like, when you send your portfolio in and they see that like everything is like connected in some way, I think they like that. And also, you can try to make it personal. Like, if you're just taking photos from online and it's just these random people that you're painting, that's fine. But like, you could build up on that by, instead of painting random people, you could paint like your family or your friends or something. So that way it's closer to you, and you might find some connection to it along the way.
Let me add just one last thing about that actually. So in your college essay, some art schools do ask like, hey, what is the process? Like in 500 words, like talk about your process behind like creating a piece. Like that's what CalArts made me do. And yeah, I like to like, usually you want to find in your college essay, like if they ask you that question, you like create one singular coherent like theme between your pieces. And what I did was I just like said like, oh, like my theme was like dual color, like tone palettes, like color palettes, stuff like that, just because I do that a lot. And it's not that I did it intentionally, it's just like good to like have a theme and have like reasoning behind your work. Yeah, and I would start working on your portfolio and your essay and your like college list like right now, because I did it the week before I started applying to schools and it was horrible. It was very scary and I almost cried. But yeah.
I want to ask about your college essay. Like, what did you write?
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I mean, okay. Like tips?
Like, did you make it like based on your art, or did you just do like?
It depends, because my personal essay was about crepes, about just like how like Polish crepes like is significant to my culture and like my family and stuff like that. Just make sure that like the college knows you on a personal level. Like it doesn't have to be sad, it doesn't have to be like this is my autobiography. It just has to be like something you think is interesting about you that the college people need to know about you. But like for art essay, I would make sure you use all your LaGuardia fancy words and be like, I love to encapsulate movement and contrast within my work. And yeah, I think that LaGuardia prepares you really well, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, all of those artist statements and reflections your teachers are asking you to write in class, those are your building blocks. You use that and then you build on it and build on it, and that's why we're not gonna torture you guys. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap up here. Gibby, that was so impressive and inspirational. Thank you for sharing your time and your words of wisdom and your beautiful artwork. This video will be available to you. We'll email it out to you guys, okay? And if you want to follow Gibby's Instagram and their journey into the next 4 years at CalArts, go for it.
Or if you guys have any questions that you like think of after the presentation, like I'll message you for sure. So yeah.
Or yeah, whatever. Thank you so much. Woo! All right.